ya hii consignment. Mbona nashangaa, mbona makastoma wengine waitishi? Yani nasema naona ajabu, maanake pia hao si ati kwa wanaitisha, hawaitishi. Sawa, tupe time. Kufanya mimi sasa haisikiki.
A very, very good morning and welcome to GS1 Traceability TV Studios. No other but myself, Eva Buyu, who will be your moderator for the next coming 3 days. And I'll be able to take you through Traceability Week. Definitely, we are excited. This is our 4th Traceability Week. But before we proceed, allow me to take you through some few etiquette matters that we have as an in-house. What we need you to do is immediately you enter, rename your screen. And by renaming your screen, include your company name and your name. Then we ask you to switch to speaker view the moment we shall begin. This will enable you to be able to see the presentation and the speaker at the same time. And we ask you to engage with us via the chat. Any question you have, type it in the chat. Be very collaborative, be very considerate, mute your microphone, represent your company very well, and be very present. We ask you, this will be one very interesting kind of thing. Of course, we definitely know that this year, our theme is keyed on AI. We are very excited to look into this. Our program for the day today will of course begin with our CEO who will give his opening remark. But before that, we are going to have something that is into retail and marketplaces. But before that, initially we started with Joseph Olo, who will be able to take us through. Before I get into a lot of that, allow me to introduce our CEO, Mr. Peter Otieno, to come and give his opening remarks and to officially open Traceability Week number 4. Welcome, Mr. Otieno.
It's happy to see you once again. It's been a long time, 4 years now. When we began, definitely we wanted to work with everybody to understand the beauty and the importance of having traceability in your business. It has been 4 years of progress and growth. This year, we are pegging the traceability on AI, the importance of having AI in your business. You learn from our team the basics of GS1, the importance of having traceability in any sector, whether it is in healthcare, whether it is in retail, whether it is in manufacturing, or whether in transport or logistics. We are also introducing traceability as we go on in construction. And as you can see, all this is because the world of today, the youth of today, demands a lot of information from each and every product we produce. And it is their right to understand why we produce what we produce, when was it produced, by who was it produced, is it coming the country in the right direction, is it counterfeit or not? And with this, we want you to engage us, not only on this week, but after this week, we also want to hear from you because we are here to serve you and to make sure that your businesses grow day by day and the importance of having traceability. As I repeat, as Eva also said it, AI is the theme for this year. And the importance of having artificial intelligence in all of that you do and put it with the traceability, definitely we assure you your businesses will grow the highest. For this, I welcome you and I thank you for joining us. And I'm officially opening this session for the whole week. I'll see you at the end of this session again. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Otieno, for officially opening the 4th GS1 Traceability Week. Again, we remind you to remember and follow our etiquette. Our next speaker and
GS1 operates under
our next speaker, and I want to introduce to you Joseph Olo. Joseph Olo is our software and lead head, and he will be taking you through GS1 brief in terms of trusted traceability with qualified, valid, and complete data. Joseph has been at GS1 Kenya for more than 5 years with a very good interest and expansion in AI and technology. Joseph, on the other hand, when he's not doing a lot on the computer, loves to cook, loves to read, and loves to write. Allow me to introduce Joseph to take you through our first session. Remember to like, follow, and subscribe on Traceability TV. Welcome, Joseph.
GS1 operates under the GS1 competition law caution. Strict compliance with competition laws is and always has been the policy of GS1. The best way to avoid problems is to remember that the purpose of the group is to enhance the ability of all industry members to compete more efficiently. This means there shall be no discussion of prices, allocation of customers or products, boycotts, refusal to deal, or market share. If any participant believes the group is drifting towards impermissible discussions, the topic shall be tabled until the opinion of counsel can be obtained. The full caution is available via the link below.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Eva, and thank you so much for that wonderful introduction. I think you left out one bit, and that is I'm also passionate about traceability and also a motorsport enthusiast. So without further ado, let's dive right into today's presentation. I will be taking you through building trusted traceability with quality data and how it opens the gateways into the whole global supply chain, right? So who are we? We are a global not-for-profit organization that develops and maintains standards for identification, capturing, and sharing information about products, entities, locations, and people. We make it possible for businesses and stakeholders to speak one language through interoperability, right? We also are not neutral and not-for-profit organization, so that means we support all the entities across the globe, whether governments or whether private institutions or public institutions. We also global and local, so that meaning we also have a global presence, but we also have local presence in 155 countries, but having physical offices in 120 countries. We are user-driven, so by this we mean all the standards that we build are not only GS1 specific, but we include other users as well to build these standards with us. And finally, we are inclusive and collaborative. So as GS1, we pride ourselves in being a collaborative company and partnering with companies in order to be able to support the whole globe and all the other supply chain sectors. So moving on to GS1 Kenya. So for GS1 Kenya, we were formed back in 1998, but we succeeded EN Kenya in 2006. So by this I mean, GS1 as a whole was formed back in 1954. There were two entities. One was UPC in the Americas, supporting the Americas, North and South. And also there was the EN, European Article Numbering, supporting the European market. So both of these institutions saw that they would create competing standards or competing entities. So in 2006, they came and formed one company and one global standard, hence the name GS1. But we'd start from behind or from the right, which is GS1. So GS1 mandate is traceability and data management, and we are a member organization. So we also affiliated to the global organization, which is in Belgium. But here in Kenya, we are based in Nairobi. So for GS1 standards, our core business is traceability and data management, as I said earlier. And how are we able to achieve this? We're able to achieve it through identifying, capturing, and sharing all that we do in the supply chain. Moving on, let's start with identification. Or identify. So for identify, before we start identification, you must become a GS1 member. And once you become a GS1 member, we're able to assign you a GCP. A GCP is a global company prefix, and it is a legal document or legal tender binding the organization to be able to trade in the supply chain, whether local or global. So as you can see from that image over there, the first 6 or 7 is what will constitute the particular GCP. One of the main identifiers that we use and actually is known globally is called the GTIN, what most of you might know as the barcode. So the GTIN is the global trade item number, and this is what is used to identify products in the supply chain. So how is it designed? It is designed or structured in this format. So the first 3 characters is the country prefix. So as you can see there, 616. So for 616 is the country prefix for Kenya. When you go to China, you have 629. When you go to South Africa, you have 600. When you go to the UK, you have 429. And any other country that you may think of, it also has its own country prefix. So at your own free time, just pass by any retail outlet and just see if the product in front of you is a 616, 600, 629. If you find any other, please type it in the chat. We can be able to link up and find out if it is actually a GS1 code or not. From there, we move on to the company prefix. For the company prefix, we have the next 6, as you can see over there. So the country prefix together with the company prefix is what constitutes the GCP that I mentioned earlier. So the company prefix will now be able to identify the company uniquely. From there, we move on to the product code. So the product code is a unique identifier for those products. So based on the GCP, you might have 10 products, you might have 100 products, you might have 1,000 products. So from the GCP is what will constitute how many numbers or how many products you'll be able to assign using that particular prefix assigned to you. And then finally, we have the check digit, in which now it will be able to make that particular GTIN or the barcode unique across the globe. Other GS1 identifiers that GS1 Kenya supports on, we have the GLN, which is able to uniquely identify the location of that particular entity. We also have the GIAI and the GRI. So the GIAI is, here in GS1 Kenya, we just call it GAI for short, but in full it stands for Global Individual Asset Identifier. We also have the GRI, which is the Global Returnable Asset Identifier. So what the Global Individual Asset Identifier is used to identify, it is easily, in offices, you can maybe say the chairs, the desks, the laptops, and some of the machinery. So fixed assets is what the GIAI is used to identify. We move on to the GRI. The GRI is now what is used to identify. It can be cases, it can be shippers, things that, move around the supply chain and usually return back to the owner of that particular asset. From there, we move on to the SSCC, which is short for Serialized Shipping Container Code. So for this is used to identify pallets moving across the supply chain. And this might not be also local supply chain, but also international markets. So large pallets moving from one entity in one country to another entity in another country, and also even here within the country, it can be used to identify large consignments moving from, let's say, one entity from one corner of the country to the last corner of the, one other corner of the country. Finally, we have the GSRN. So the GSRN is used to identify service providers in any company. So case in point, let's use healthcare, for instance. We have the patient and we have the caregiver. So the caregiver can be the doctor or the nurse or whichever practitioner. So the GSRN is what can be used to identify this to personnel in such a way that it can be able to identify them, who exactly was admitted, who exactly was treated, and who exactly did the treating. Let's move on to GS1 capture identifiers, right? When you move to the retail outlet, imagine a scenario where now for each and every item that you've purchased didn't have a barcode. Essentially, each and every one of them, they had to either search for it, and then it would reference, and then it would pass, or they had to type in the GT number. It would make work a lot more difficult. So this is where the GS1 data capturing comes in, and we turn identity into action. So by employing the scanners and the capturing tools, it will be able to have faster product identification. It will be able to have fewer manual errors, since they want to be manual intervention or manual typing. It will be able to have efficient inventory management tools or systems, and also reporting structures, reliable retail checkout, and finally end-to-end traceability, which is key in any retail or supply chain outlet. So the three main capturing tools that GS1 has employed over the last 54 years, we have the EN-UPC, which is majorly used in the retail outlets. We have the ITF14, which is commonly also mistaken as the EN13, but it is not used for the retail outlets, but this is actually used for cases and shippers, and also for warehousing, just to be able to store items in the racks. And then finally, we have the GS128. So this is a standard that has been used for years for logistics, transport and logistics environments or sectors. So all these three are what has been being used over the last 54 years. But in the last decade or the last 5 years, we have come to realize that it is limited. There is a saying that goes, if it is not broken, don't fix it. But that does not apply to this instance. And that is why we are saying that the linear barcode has limitations. So more and more of the market is asking for more details and how these capturing tools can carry more information. With the linear code, it can carry the GTIN, but unfortunately it can't carry the batch number, the manufacturing number or date, the expiry date, the serial number, and much more consumer information that consumers are asking for on a day-to-day basis. And that is why we are transitioning from the 1D to the 2D, as you can see from that image, lovely image. So what are the 2D tools that we have? As GS1, we have employed two. We have the GS1 QR code and the GS1 data matrix. So for the GS1 QR code, if you have some time, just please scan any of the codes there, and you can share with us also on the chat what exactly you're able to see, what exactly you're able to verify. So for the GS1 QR code, what it does is actually has three functions in one. The linear code could also just be used at the POS, point of sale, and be able to check out. But with the GS1 QR code, it has that functionality. Another functionality it has is to add marketing information for that particular SKU or product or for the whole company. And then finally, act as a bridge between the brand owner and the consumers in terms of rating and reviewing the product. As it is now, most brand owners, their customers are the retail outlets, the distributors, the wholesalers. But the consumers are actually the people who should be the customers in this particular case. So when we are rating and reviewing, we usually rate and review to the retail outlets, which is not the case. We should be have a direct access or direct channel back to the manufacturer. The second one is the GS1 data matrix, and this is what is used in healthcare. We have employed in the healthcare ecosystem. So as it is now, most drugs entering the country, we don't have a full identification of if this drug is for the market and many other information that the country or the consumers are asking for, and that is me and you, right? So we have employed the GS1 data matrix, which has some encryption functionalities inside to be able to add not only the GTIN or the identifier, but can also add the batch number, the expiry date, production date, and also a serial number. So this is actually a unique function that can be able to say for any paracetamol or any painkiller that enters the country, it can be identified, that particular paracetamol uniquely, 1 to X number. It can be 1,000, it can be 10,000, even 1 million units of that particular paracetamol. Each and every one of them can be identified uniquely. In the healthcare, it is already working, and you're pushing for it, and working closely with the regulators to make this a reality within the country, within this year or the next year, before Vision 2030, right? So this has also been employed across Africa, not only in Kenya. So across Africa, there are many African countries onboarding onto these two 2D platforms. And across the globe, in European market, it's already allowed, it's already working, as well as the Americas. So the question you might have is, why are we moving to 2D? As you can see there, rich product information, not only as a way of checking in and checking out, but actually a way of marketing tools, as a way of also adding and rating and reviewing and verifying data on a global scale. We also have enhanced traceability mechanisms. With the 2D, we are able to do this end-to-end traceability. Consumer engagement, it is very good and very key. As of now, we buy a product, but when it affects us in whatever way, there's no way of us going back and saying that we can rate and review or engage with the brand owners of these particular products that we are consuming. Product authentication, to be able to verify. And in this case, maybe just to give you a small instant story, there is another company that we're able to engage with, and they came to us and said, as GS1, how can we be able to use your tools to be able to authenticate our products? Not by using the barcode alone, but using other standards that we are doing. And actually, there is where now we employ the 2D tools to be able to assist them in traceability and authentication of their products in real time. Recall management, this applies majorly in the healthcare sector. So in the healthcare sector, once, as I said, as I mentioned earlier, serialization has assisted in being able to recall particular serials, not the whole batch, not the whole consignment, but just particular serials that have been affecting individuals or entities in a particular area. We also have digital product information, but here in GS1 Kenya, we like calling them DPP, Digital Product Passport. So essentially, the way as an individual, you have yourself as a physical, but the passport itself can be able to identify you in the digital realm or digital space. So the 2D tools that we have employed has been able to now make the physical product exist in the digital realm or the digital space as is. So whatever it should be in the physical space should also be tallying in the digital space. And this employs in the e-commerce platforms and you name it. Finally, we have improved healthcare and pharmaceutical traceability. I've spoken much about this, but I would really want to engage one-on-one on you on this, on the chat. So please, if you have any questions, if you have anything to speak more on why 2D is important for you, please drop it in the chat. How to get started with 2D, or how do you get 2Ds as a GS1 member? So first of all, you'll have to become a GS1 member. From there, you register accurate product data on self-service member platform. So as GS1 Kenya, we also have a GS1 self-service platform in which all our members can be able to access it wherever they are and be able to have access of these identifiers and capturing standards. We also have, once you've been able to generate within the self-service platform, you'll be able to generate your GTINs. Not only the GTINs, but also the 2Ds as part of that. And once you've been able to generate both 2Ds, either the data matrix or the QR code, whichever is applicable to you, you'll be able to print it. So just before we go to share, and I believe that was the third standard that we usually do as GS1. It was identification, capturing, and share. Just before we're able to share to the market, I want to take us through some of the barcode placement practices. And how best do we do this? We do this through barcode verification. So a barcode may appear correct in the product or even visually, and even scan on the normal mobile phone, but still fail in the retail or warehousing environments. So this is where barcode verification comes in to confirm whether a barcode complies with GS1 and ISO standards before the product reaches the market. What exactly do we do when you're going to verify? So we do 3 checks: barcode quality, barcode compliance, and the product data. So under barcode quality, we have the print quality. Is the print actually up to par? We have the symbol contrast. We have the quiet zones. So for quiet zones, let me just give a bit of context. So when you see a barcode, there is the black lines and a white background. In between those black lines is what we call the quiet zones. So if it's too far apart or too near to each other, the barcode might either not function well in the outlets, or it might actually decode as a different identifier. The barcode size, also we want it not to be too small or too big, otherwise it might not be able to scan efficiently or correctly. And finally is decodability. So when we scan it, is it decoding the GTIN that is on the particular barcode, or is it decoding a different identifier? From there, we move on to barcode compliance. So barcode compliance is the correct symbology. As I had mentioned earlier on, we had EN13, ITF14, SCC. If you have any other, please, if you can remember, drop it in the chat. We also have barcode structure. So the barcode structure should be the correct format. The placement, so in some certain items, it might be vertical, others might be horizontal. And finally is color combination. So if we remember our physics well, dark light absorbs and white light reflects. So if you put white lines on a back or a dark background, definitely it will try and scan the background and not the bars, which is faulty. So hence why we say the best or the most efficient format of placing the barcode is black or dark lines with a light background. That would make the barcode compliant. And then finally is the product data. So the product data is what now we are moving towards now the 2D, what consumers are requesting for. So the consumers are requesting for the GTIN allocation, product description, the brand, the net content, and the unit of measure. And this data is not limited only to those. So as GS1, we are taking a minimum of 7 attributes. So as you can see on the screen, we have 5. The other 2 that have not been mentioned there is the target market, which is really key. And then finally is the product image. So as I said, in the digital space, together with the physical space, this product should match 100%. Some of the common findings we may find during verification include incorrect barcode colors, as I had mentioned before, poor print quality, inadequate quiet zones. We have wrong barcode symbology, small barcode sizes, duplicate GTIN allocation, and product data mismatches. And I'm sure some of you have experienced some of these findings, but if you have yet to find, please engage us, put it in the chat so that we can also maybe organize for a physical visit and we come and assist you in the barcode verification exercises. Why verify before going to market? Improving scanning performance, which is really key. Reducing retailer complaints. And it's actually really key to all the stakeholders, I think, who have joined this call, simply because you know how retailers operate. If a product is not compliant, it may take up to 3 to 6 months before you onboard your product onto the market. Minimizing of product rework. So it's actually a hell to the brand owners. You design a particular product, but before it goes out to market, it has a lot of rework. There's an issue with the identifier, there's an issue with the quiet zones, there's an issue with the symbology, and so on and so forth. All that I have mentioned. So if all of this can be identified earlier on, we can be able to minimize the product rework. Prevent supply chain disruptions. So your product goes to the market from the manufacturer, the brand owner, all the way to consumer without any hitches. If there are any hitches, definitely you know it will escalate back to the brand owner. Protect brand reputation. Brand is actually key for each and every entity that is within this particular engagement. So if your brand is tarnished just a little bit, you know the ramifications of that. Ensure compliance with GS1 standards. And I'm very 100% honest. If you're compliant with GS1, you are compliant across the globe. Let's move on to the last bit, which is the data share. So data share is essentially all you've talked about, all the identifiers, all the capturing standards. We've been able to generate them. We've been able to create it. Now we have a master data. How does this master data proceed down the chain? That is where we have these sharing standards. So in GS1, we usually have a term we call EPSIS. EPSIS events. This is identifying the what, identifying the when, identifying the where, identifying the how, and identifying the who. So those 6 capturing tools or identifiers is what we call EPSIS. So picture a scenario where we have manufacturer, distributors, retailers, e-commerce platforms now, since you're talking about digital, and consumers. In each and every one of them, they should be able to explain the what, the when, the where, the why, the how, the who, and share it downstream all the way to consumer. And if it's possible and it's a closed loop, they can be able to share it back up from consumer back to manufacturer, since you have created a whole event ecosystem. So as you can see there, the what can be the product in this case. The when can be when it was manufactured and the time. The where can be the location. So most of these brand owners have multiple factories. So the location where it came from, or the location where it was manufactured. The why it is why does the market need this particular product? The how it is how it was created. Was it created in efficacy levels or efficacy way, which will make it good? And the who exactly created this particular product. So in a supply chain from manufacturer all the way to consumers, if all this can be able to be identified in one particular language, it should be a closed loop. So some of the platforms we are using to be able to share, we have Hakikisha Bidhaa. So Hakikisha Bidhaa is a local tool that GS1 Kenya has come up with to be able to identify, capture, and share all this data from manufacturer to consumer in a seamless format, right? So Hakikisha Bidhaa, essentially you'll be able to scan the code or type in the identifier within our tools and be able to bring you, as you can see from the screen. So we have it in web format in our website. If you go to gs1kenya.org, you'll be able to see Hakikisha Bidhaa or verify your product on the landing page. We also have it in the Play Store. So in the Play Store, if you just search Hakikisha Bidhaa, you should be able to see it, as well as iOS. So we are capturing all the particular devices that can be able to use the Hakikisha Bidhaa platform. Another tool that we have, which now encompasses the global space, is Verified by GS1. So Verified by GS1 is a global tool encompassing all the 155 countries that we have presence in. So all the identifiers that you had seen, all the companies that you had seen in my earlier slides, have their data onboarded on Verified by GS1. So Verified by GS1, you can be able to verify the GTIN. You can be able to verify the GLN, the location of these entities. We can be able to verify other keys as well. So if you remember the other keys that I mentioned or the other identifiers, please drop it in the chat so that you can be able to be reached out to and we can engage further to see how best these tools can be able to assist your business go to the next level. And then finally is if the identifiers are not very visible, you can search by company. And from there, it will be able to tell you if this company is GS1 compliant or if this company has GS1 standards. So bringing it all together, we have identifying, capturing, sharing. I've explained all of them in depth. But then again, just to emphasize, with these 3 tools, we shall be able to identify, allocate a unique GTIN for that, or a GLN. We shall be able to capture, encode it in a GS1 barcode and verify the barcode quality. And shall be able to share and provide a complete and accurate product information together. These 3 pillars create a trusted, efficient, and traceable supply chain. So in finishing, I would like to thank you all for joining this call. And please, this is not the final presentation for the day or for the week. There is some exciting talks and presentation coming with talks about AI. So the next presenter will be coming with something unique, and I believe this is something your industry or your business should be able to consume. So with that, I would like to finish with that, and don't go anywhere. There is a video coming in shortly just to explain how the software we have explained joins together with the hardware. So in finishing, thank you so much, and I would like to leave with a parting shot. Is your business ready? Because GS1 is ready for you.
So Axom Digital, in a nutshell, is an IT distributor. We mainly focus on barcode printing and then, of course, inventory scanners. So generally, we try to bring all this under different brands. So we pride ourselves in one of our own OEM brands, Expos, which we manufacture ground up, we design. And then we distribute some of the leading brands such as Urovo, Datalogic, IDP, and more. Our main area is traceability. And we understand that traceability is as strong as its weakest links. For example, if the hardware is bad, then the strong part of traceability fails. So you have to be able to give these people who are in manufacturing, in cold rooms, the right type of hardware, so that eventually that link of seeing the item as it moves across the entire map of traceability is a one. That's essentially what you do, being driven by 3 main items. 1, there's regulation, because industries are more regulated. 2, there's a lot of data richness. And then, of course, on the other end, there's customer expectation. So for regulation, there are some products, industries such as pharmaceuticals, we're looking at being able to trace that data, be it per pallet, all the way to the minute detail of the tablet that is in that box. So the fact that we're able to follow that, there's a lot of pressure for brands to be able to meet that particular thing. Number 2, on data richness, because as a consumer, rather as a retailer, be it a shelf or as a warehouse, in the warehouse management, you want to be able to know, to take a deep view of the product moving through the chain. So the old 1D codes cannot be able to carry enough information through the chain. So hence the 2D and the data matrix, the GS1 data matrix especially, is able to carry all that. 3, the customer expectation. Customers nowadays, they want to go to the supermarket. When they scan that particular code, they want to know when the product was manufactured, who manufactured it, is the product genuine, and all that. That can only be achieved through the GS1 data matrix. Yeah, so GS1 generally is able to make sure that all these industries, especially the 2D barcode, is able to follow the product through the chain. It means one GS1 code or one GS1 data matrix, one GS1 2D code serves as one code for compliance, internal audit, internal traceability, and then at the same time at the end user, rather the supermarkets and what have you, for customer engagement, all being done simultaneously. So one code for everything. We supply a lot of 2D technology in scanners. Some are for entry-level scanners like Expos 2800, which is wired, all the way to Expos 3000, to other mobile computers such as Memo 11 family, of course the Urovo family, the DT50P, the RT40S, and then of course the CT58. These are already come with a 2D scan engine that is able to decode, that means the decode and read, of course, read and decode the GS1 data matrix codes. So when you say that, we are ready for that. We have the make stock. On the printing side, we carry a wide range of pixel on range, so that whatever 2D scanning you're printing, you're able to read them clearly. So on that, from the entry-level label printers like XD3 540, XD340D, all the way to the industrial versions. They're already supporting that, so that you print a high precision code. At the same time, on the other hand, we're able to read with our XP2800 that is able to do an amazing job, and all that entire lineup. Yeah. So generally on our end, I'll give a three-part answer. One, on the hardware readiness, we ensure that our scanners are able to read and decode the GS1 code, and then of course the GS1 data link. On that particular end, we work closely with GS1 to make sure that any expo scanner or big salon printer is able to be able to capture that, so that both sides, whatever we come up with, we allow our R&D team constantly meets the GS1 team, and they're able to work hand in hand or hand in tandem to ensure that all that is made. The second part is this particular vision. It has the end user or the client, the distributors that we have, rather the partners that we have. We have to ensure that that particular client is educated about that. So we are helping business understand that throughout the country and East Africa at large. Thirdly, the third part is we can't just have hardware. We must also be able to ensure that we have local support that is able to take care of that. So by that, we have certified technicians. We have genuine parts that are available here. These genuine parts are available here. Number three, there's warranty backing. When you give you a scanner, so that whoever is implementing that GS1 code, we're able to be there and take care of them. Some export brands, we go all the way to guarantee them up to 2 years. So it means at no point, people should not be fearful to embrace the 2D code. At the same time, they have a clear mind. They're able to what they're able to do. The world is not going to wait for us. We need to prepare for the future. Now, on our end, we say, don't wait for the deadline to force your hand. Businesses that move early, you eventually end up having a very smooth transition. So the reality of the 2D codes is already here. We see 2D codes on our products. So don't wait for this to find you, because either if you don't change will change you. Yeah, that's it. So generally, on that note, we Axiom Digital, at the same time with GS1 Kenya, have come together to ensure that this hardware is available locally, and that our hardware is able to meet the GS1 standards, so that the end user or the manufacturer or the person who has a retail chain, they don't need to go elsewhere to get this hardware. The support is available here. You can reach out either to GS1 Kenya or Axiom Digital. We'll be able to give you all the support, so that while you are making sure that the ecosystem is sustainable and the traceability is achieved, we have the hardware here. GS1 will give you the traceability element, the GS1 code, of course. Our end users, our consumers, you can start by auditing your system. You know what you've already moved to us 2D and what you've not. That which you've moved to us 2D, start to go incrementally. You don't have to do it all once. Start by maybe it is the dispatch areas that are more important and all that. So make sure that you do that. Implement the GS1 2D code right now. Yeah, if you're able to do that, then it means that your entire system will eventually be able to meet that standard. The 2D itself, the scanner, you must get a proper scanner that is able to read the 2D barcode. When it comes to the printers, get a good printer, in this case, Big Salon, that is able to print a proper code so that you reduce the number of errors during the scanning. Yeah.
Thank you very much. And we are back to our second session. Joseph took us through a lot of attributes on GS1 standards and all. But now we'd like to remind you again about our etiquette and the Zoom portfolio that we have. We ask you to please rename your screen, include your name and your company name. This enables us to understand where you are, who you are, and what you're doing so that we can be able to engage. We also encourage you to switch to speaker view. By speaker view, I mean you go to your menu on the Zoom portfolio, find the display that is there and put speaker view. This enables you to be able to follow the presentation and see the presenter at the same time. We also ask you to really engage with us in the chat, and we are grateful that you did, especially in the first session that Joseph took you through. Be very collaborative, ask as many questions as you can. Represent your company very well as you're doing. Thank you very much for that. Be very considerate, and we ask you to mute your microphone. Our next session is on retail and AI, as well as we'd mentioned, marketplaces. So this is definitely transforming retail and marketplaces with GS1 standards, and that is the Soko Power and Soko Chat experience. I don't want to give you much of this. Allow me to introduce to you Rinta Luther, who is our software developer. Rinta has been at GS1 Kenya for more than 3 years and is one of the few ladies that you'll find a lot on the computer and brings beautiful things to your screens on a daily basis from GS1. When Rinta is not on the screen, Rinta likes to look pretty, as you can see, and Rinta would have been a beautician, not for the computer. Next, I introduce to you Michael Munavu, who is the Assistant Manager of Vumbuzi AI Systems. Michael has been with GS1 Kenya for more than 3 years, in and out, and finally, Michael is back at GS1 Kenya. A very raw and brilliant talent that he brings onto the table. Michael, when he's not making a lot of things, I think, as Joseph would have mentioned, would be a sports enthusiast. But I think he loves more of Amapiano. We get to understand this and listen to more of them on the AI. Allow me to welcome Rinta Luther and Michael Munavu on the stage to take you through retail and marketplaces. Stay tuned. See you soon.
GS1 operates under the GS1 competition law caution. Strict compliance with competition laws is and always has been the policy of GS1. The best way to avoid problems is to remember that the purpose of the group is to enhance the ability of all industry members to compete more efficiently. This means there shall be no discussion of prices, allocation of customers or products, boycotts, refusal to deal, or market share. If any participant believes the group is drifting towards impermissible discussions, the topic shall be tabled until the opinion of counsel can be obtained. The full caution is available via the link below.
Thank you so much, Eva, for introducing us. It's been a pleasure listening to the first presentation. In this presentation, I'll take you through GS1 Kenya and what we're doing in the digital marketplace and retail sector. Now we have around 67 participants in chat. Now, if I ask you what you did in the morning, there are a couple of things I'll assume you did. You woke up, you probably took a shower, there's some soap you used. You brushed your teeth, there's some toothpaste that you used. You went down, you had some breakfast, and there's some food that you ate. Now, all of this you bought from a certain retail or you bought from a marketplace online. Now, the interesting thing is that we are not really sure whether the thing that you ate, the thing that you used in the morning, was the thing that the manufacturer actually produced in the factory. And that's what we'll be addressing here. In our agenda, we'll talk about the trust gap that is currently there in Kenya's online retail. And not only Kenya's online retail, but the physical retail where we go to buy things. We recently had a talk with a couple of manufacturers, and they were mentioning about how over 70% of the goods that are actually in the market are not theirs. Think about that, 70%. Now, this is very good if it's plastics, if it's cups, if it's a mug you use, if it's a spoon. But think about the impact of this if it's something as essential as food. Think about the effect of this if it's something as essential as pharmaceutical products. This can possibly even lead to death if you're not consuming, if you're not taking the thing that the manufacturer actually produced. We'll talk about what GS1 standards are coming in to do in the digital channel. In the digital channel, that is not only something a place where you buy things on the go, things like, as I've mentioned, cups, spoons, but things that are essential to your health. We'll talk about the two different platforms that we currently have. Sokopa, which is a GS1 anchored marketplace. My colleague Grinta will talk about what a GS1 anchored marketplace looks like, what makes this unique, what makes this different. If you look at other marketplaces, what does a GS1 anchored marketplace actually look like? Finally, I'll talk about SokoChat. It's a very interesting innovation that we have that allows you to have commerce inside a conversation. And you'll realize you've probably been using a version or two of SokoChat in the morning in your day-to-day lives. And finally, talk about the roadmap and what we're asking from you.
Okay, so when you go online and you want to shop, you necessarily don't have to go to a physical shop. You necessarily don't have to leave your house and go to a store and do some shopping. Nowadays, this is done via online. You can go to an online marketplace, select what you want to buy, and just do it simply and simpler. So as we move on, in Africa, it is expected we have over 500 million online shoppers as we continue. And every year this continues to grow, and each year it will be more. So as products move across the digital channels, their identity is usually lost. For example, when you want to buy something, let's say a pair of headphones or a pair of shoes, you go online, you search white pairs of shoes, and a lot of products come on your platform. You don't know which one is genuine, you don't know if this one is fake, has this one been verified, and usually you won't know this until it reaches to your doorstep. And this usually would lead to loss in product data and poor traceability, since you don't know which product is genuine and which one is not. And this usually leads to inefficient e-commerce. So one of them, there's many things that break in the supply chain, and I'd just like to talk about 3 of them. So for example, it's discovery. As I was saying, you can't really reliably compare this product is genuine and this product is not genuine from your phone. It just has to arrive to your doorstep and you'll be like, oh, is this really the product I ordered? It might look the same online, but it is not actually the genuine product that you wanted it to be delivered. And this usually leads to loss in product data, and also you don't know which one is authentic or not. So as we move on, as we continue in buying stuff online, you cannot know which one is authentic. You cannot differentiate. Is this one real? Is this one a pair of genuine sneakers that I've bought? Is this one not genuine? And usually this leads to also, when a manufacturer is producing something, you cannot be able to call back an inefficient product. You cannot be able, without the application identifiers, such as the batch number, you cannot be able to really know that this product is the one that is being inconsistent. So as we move on, maybe we'd like to know about what the buyer risks and what the seller does risk.
Thank you so much, Renta. Renta has talked about the 3 main things that normally break when a product has no identity. And you'll come to realize as I go on with my slides that there is a bit of product identity in the physical marketplace, because when you go, to example, for a supermarket, you need to have a GS1 barcode, you need to have a GTIN for your product to be enlisted into the supermarket. But think about when you're launching your product in digital marketplaces, most times they just ask for generic things. They ask for a name, they ask for a description, and they ask for an image. This is all they ask for. They don't ask for a unique identifier. And a unique identifier, as we've seen, many things break if that's not there. Discovery breaks, authenticity breaks, and compliance breaks. Now, let's talk about what these different gaps that Rinta has talked about normally affect the buyer and the seller. I'll start off with the buyer. And with the buyer, it's very easy, because it's very easy for you to relate. The 68 of you who are here have definitely bought something today, and if not, you'll probably buy something by the end of the day. Now think about it. When you're going to buy something and you've toiled and worked so hard in this economy, you're hoping that what you buy is actually what is produced. You're hoping what you buy is actually the legitimate thing. You're hoping what you buy is the true thing that the manufacturer actually did. Now, the risk that you face is that counterfeit products often look identical to the genuine ones online, and buyers usually only see a photo. And this happens in the digital marketplace. Not only in the digital marketplace, but also in the physical marketplace. Think about it. When you want to buy toothpaste this morning, You didn't check to see whether it's the actual one. There is no way for you to actually test and verify whether it's the actual one. And as we'll continue with the presentations today and across to Thursday, you'll see that you have different products that will help you with this. One of them is Hakikisha Bidhaa that can help you in the physical marketplace verify whether a good is actually the one that you're seeing. In the digital space, this is one of the things that break. And the interesting thing, even with AI right now, is that people are able to generate photos that look so good. So when you're going to buy a shoe, you'll see a photo of a shoe that looks out of this world, probably even futuristic. You know, the white is the cream white, and it's amazing. But when you get it, it's so different. The other thing that actually buyers risks is the fact that there's so much critical information, such as the batch number, the expiry date, and origin, that are rarely visible or verifiable. When you're buying drugs online, you normally don't check the batch number, you normally don't check the expiry date. You're just hoping that these people have put the right thing on the store and they're selling you the right thing. Now, I've talked about all these different things that the buyer risks. And it's not such a big risk if you're looking at normal things day to day, plastics, a phone. But think about something like food, medicine, personal care products. But for example, if it's expired, it will ruin your skin. If it's expired, it can give you a heart attack. It can give you all these different ailments that you're not supposed to get if the buyer did not have to face this risk. Now, let's talk about what the seller actually risks. Something very interesting, and we'll just talk about the biggest marketplace retailer now, Amazon. Amazon have a GS1 barcode requirement. What this means is that for every product that is listed on Amazon, they need to have a GS1 barcode. Now imagine you're a manufacturer, you've invested all your money into creating this amazing product, and you don't have a GS1 barcode, you don't have a GS1 GTIN. This means that you're missing out on this amazing market that Amazon, these big digital retailers have, just because you don't have this unique identifier. So having this unique identifier opens up your market. You still look at a company like Amazon, it opens up your market completely. You stop being a local company and you become a global company because you can sell to people in Asia, you can sell to people in Europe, people in the Americas, people in all these different places, you can be able to sell it to them. Here's another unique thing. When you think about different products, mostly in the agricultural sector, when you think about these different products, mostly in the agricultural sector, I'll talk about, first of all, the agriculture for food and probably livestock. Let me start off with food. When you think about something like coffee, you'll find that the coffee that is grown in somewhere like Nyeri is much more expensive or much more valued, probably because of the climatic region, probably because of where it's grown, but it has a higher value as opposed to the coffee that's grown maybe in Machakos. Now think about if you don't have a unique identifier for this. Think about how if you don't have traceability all the way back. The risk that you get is that when you go into the marketplace, you cannot prove that this thing came specifically from Nyeri. And if you can't do that, it means probably that the value of which you'll sell it at is a bit lower. When you think of something like cattle, when I normally go to the supermarket, I normally see that cattle from different countries is a bit higher. I normally see, for example, if you go to the cattle from South Africa is a bit expensive. I've not tried it. And I see that the cattle from Kenya is, slightly cheaper than the one from South Africa. Now think about that seller from South Africa. If he doesn't have a unique identifier to be able to help him prove that this cattle is actually reared here, it's very hard for him to be able to sell it at this premium price. I also see these days that there's some cattle which are sold that are grass grazed only. So it means they're eating a certain type of grass. Now, if you cannot prove that without a unique identifier, it means that eventually you'll have lower sales and few opportunities to be able to sell your product at the price it deserves to be sold at. Now, here's the interesting thing. GS1, or rather even traceability, that stops at the shelf is not traceability. And this is a reality. Previously, we thought that if you just have a barcode and you put it somewhere in the shelf, traceability is there. But we now realize that the last mile is now digital. And this is where the chain completely breaks. Think about all the things that you bought at a digital marketplace. Do you know where they came from? Do you know where they're manufactured? Do you know whether they're legit or not? As I've said, it's very easy in the physical marketplace because you can go and see. We have different products like Hakikisha Bidhaa, where you can be able to scan and see. But in the digital marketplace, this is extremely difficult.
So you're probably wondering, what are the standards that GS1 uses in the marketplace? What does GS1 actually do in the digital channel? If you were actually paying attention when our first speaker, Mr. Joseph, was talking about the certain keys that GS1 uses, the identify, the capture, and the share, you'd be able to see some, but I'd just like to list some of those that are usually used in the marketplace. So for example, let's take the GTIN, which is the global trade item number. This is what is used in the supermarkets using the beep sound while passing by the point of sale. This is what is used to identify a single trade item. And also we have the GLN, which is the global location number. So this one is usually just used to identify the sellers or the location of where the particular seller is. And also we have the GPC, which is the global product classification. This is just used to globally identify the categories for different items so that your products can be able to have global standards and also be able to be identified in the global market. And this is very key if you want your product to actually have a wider audience. There's also the certain things such as the application identifiers, such as the batch number, the lot, the serial, and the expiry. And as I was speaking about this previously, this enables the compliance bit of the matter, where if something goes wrong, the manufacturer can be able to recall a product back and just also to be able to allow the compliance matter. So just to speak about what I was saying, I'd like to show our viewers online a small video about the standards I used in the identifying bit.
Natasha wants to surprise her daughter with a special present for her birthday. She goes online to visit her favorite marketplace. Customers like Natasha use marketplaces for the wide selection, convenience, and speed of delivery. They also want to know if a product is authentic and safe to use. Sellers worldwide use marketplaces to access a vast number of potential customers to grow their business. With marketplace customers unable to physically touch, feel, or try on products before buying, sellers build confidence and trust by ensuring that customers get accurate product information and that the expected item is delivered. To help sellers uniquely identify their products for customers and meet marketplace trading requirements, they turn to GS1, the official provider of the Global Trade Item Number, or GTIN, also known as UPC, EAN, or barcodes. When customers get accurate product information, they make purchasing decisions more confidently and return to order again. Earning customers' trust is every seller's ambition. GS1 is represented in over 100 countries around the globe and is a leader in product identification in the physical and digital worlds. GS1 is the organization assigning unique GTINs worldwide that can be used across borders to identify products. GTINs enable faster product listing, increased product discoverability, enriched customer experience, higher conversion rates, and accurate product fulfillment. Natasha is a happy customer. The GS1 GTIN ensured that the correct items were delivered and enabled the seller to successfully grow their business. Want to know more? Contact your local GS1 office.
So thank you for watching that video that explains more about the identifying bit in the GS1 standards. So as we move on, we are going to go into the capture bit. The EN13, which is basically the GTIN, is what is used at the point of sale whenever a person wants to check out their products. So this one is used to capture the information of that product and it will relate to the scanner. And also we can be able to use the QR or the data matrix to be able just to also scan at the point of terminal. And also this one gives more data about the product, not the same as the EN13, as we were told in the earlier session by Joseph. And also this digital link, you can be able to use your phone to scan and just see more about this product. And also it is also linked if you're part of our members and our products are in our database, you can be able to link to the GS1 Hakikisha Bidhaa platform. And this platform just enables your products to be verified as an authentic product, as a genuine product, and something that is in there in the market that is very, very genuine. And also, if you were paying attention in the earlier session, they were talking about the data matrix. And the data matrix is just basically something that is used to give more information and just about the product data. And as they were explaining in the morning, I'm sure you got it. And also now to move on to the share bit aspects about the GS1 standards. There is included the GDSN, which is the Global Data Synchronization Network. This basically just means it's a big database where GS1 members use it to share information across all agencies, and you can be able to get your product data, you can be able to get your genuine product data in the platform. And also there is the GS1 registry. This is where if you want to verify a product is actually genuine, you can be able to search the GT number in the registry, and if it's there, you're good. And also among talking about the GS1 registry, that is an international registry, we can be able to talk about the local registry, which is the National Product Catalog. And something interesting that's going on in the healthcare sector is there's a registry, it is a registry for verifying healthcare product information, a joint initiative by the Pharmacy and the Poisons Board, Safaricom, Digital Health Agency, and GS1 Kenya. This is just used as a catalog for verifying if this product is actually genuine. The users can be able to verify if it's actually correct data. And as Michael was saying earlier, in the healthcare sector, it is really, really important that you receive the right amount, the right correct products. So moving on also, as I was speaking about Hakikisha Bidhaa. Hakikisha Bidhaa is a platform where you can also use it to verify that your product is actually genuine. This is something that GS1 Kenya has innovated, that if you even scan or like type in the GT, you can be able to verify this is accurate and this is genuine data. We also have the EPSIS, which is the Electronic Products Code Information Services. And as Joseph was talking about it earlier, it answers the question of what product this is, how, the why, the when, and the reason of these products just happening all over. So as I was saying, you're probably wondering, what is a GS1 compliant marketplace? What does it mean for a marketplace to have all these standards you're speaking about? It has to identify, validate, and resolve. What do I mean by this? Every listing that is made on the platform has to have a GT that is verifiable, that is accurate, and that one can be able to know that this actually exists in the GS1 registry platform. This just acts as a source of truth to retailers and marketplaces and just around the supply chain, just to be able to know that this product actually is the right product. And also this GT that is uploaded in the GS1 marketplace has to be verified against the GS1 registry. You can't just come and put random numbers over there. It just has to be verified, has to be an accurate information that is in there. And also the images posted on the platform, they have to meet certain rules. They can't just be ordinary images that you've gotten online and then you're coming to say these are actually a very genuine thing, because sometimes it may not be, and this is actually really important. And once this GTIN has been put in place, it can be able to generate the digital link. And this digital link is actually something that can be placed on the platform that can reveal a digital twin. By me saying a digital twin, I mean is the product that you have in here is the same product that when you scan the digital link, you'll be able to see this product online and it will be able to match the product that you actually have. And this product can be reached anywhere, anytime. So you're probably wondering, does GS1 actually have such a marketplace? Do we have such a platform? And the correct answer is yes, we do. This platform is called Soko Power. It is a GS1 anchored marketplace for Kenyan sellers and for also our members. And I know some of you in the audience are our members, and you might also have listed your products, and that is kudos to you. As we move on, what exactly is Soko Power? Sokopa is a local marketplaces which connects buyers, connects sellers with over 13 categories and 120 subcategories. And this actually uses the GPC so that your product can be able to be recognized globally and people just can be able to access your products. And every product in there, it's not just a product that's just structured information, there's just an image there just to show this product is available. This is a verifiable product. Every seller has a verified product, and has a verified profile with reviews, and we just know this person is actually a genuine person because we've made steps and we've ensured that this person actually exists. So buyers can start a chat, they can request a call back, they can make an offer, they can view contact details, and just be able to interact easily with the sellers that are in the platform. So I know some of our members are in the platform already buying, already connecting with sellers and buyers, but if not, how does one list in our platform? How does one start to interact with Sokopa? So first of all, what happens is you create an account with us. And after you've created the account, we can be able to verify, is this account real? Is this someone who's trying to scam people online? We'll just be able to verify that this is a genuine person and this one is just a verifiable account on the platform. And also after you've created the account, you can be able to access the platform easily. You can be able to list your products. You can be able to buy from other sellers. So for example, if you want shoes, if you want bags, our member Euphrasia Women's Center is there. You can be able to get their products if you want to buy just a variety of stuff online. And if you're a member, if you're a GS1 member, it is made easier for you. You can be able to search a GT. If it exists in our database, it will be able to pick your information and just list it automatically. So it's made easier for you so that you can be able to buy and sell and just interact with buyers online. And also the images that are there, we review them personally and we make sure that the GT that is there is validated in the registry so that this item can be identified and can be accurate. So what does it entail for you to move through Sokopa? So you can be able to sell, discover, compare different items. As you know, these items that are on the platform are genuine items. They are not phony items. And if you're able to join us at sokopower.co.ke, you'll be able to see the various things we have. And also this marketplace is something that's there. And we really encourage our members just to come, join us. It doesn't hurt for your product to have more visibility. It does not hurt for your product to be just out there because what do you have to lose? Come interact. We have registered sellers, we have registered buyers, we have review history. You can be able to know which product is this, which product is genuine and which product is not. Just come. We're welcoming you. Thank you for listening to me. And don't forget, sokopower.co.ke.
Thank you so much, Shinta, for giving us a very elaborate explanation into what Sokopa is. The idea is there, the product is there. So if you're a member, make sure you check it out, sokopower.co.ke, and you can start listing your products on this marketplace. Now, the difference with it between this marketplace and all these other different marketplaces is that what you order is actually what you get. I don't know if you've seen on TikTok, people make these viral videos of what I ordered versus what I received. With Sokopa, what you order is what you receive. And this is because you're using GS1 standards to ensure that what is actually there is something that is verifiable. What's actually there is something that the manufacturer actually made. So you can be rest assured that if you're buying a product through Sokopa, you're buying the actual genuine product. Now, I'm sure as Renta was going through the presentation, you could find similarities in different things that we have in the market. Different marketplaces where you buy your different things. We talked about Amazon, and I'm sure you have so many others locally. And you could see some similarities. But as I've said, the difference is in Sokopa, what you order is what you get because you're using GS1 standards. Now, there's a new revolution coming up in the e-commerce space. And with that, I'll bring in SokoChat. SokoChat is a very interesting product that GS1 has. And it's all about commerce inside the conversation. When I started my presentation, I talked about how you're probably using a version of SokoChat or you have used a version of SokoChat without knowing. I previously asked some of my friends and colleagues to name for me the biggest companies in the world. And they mentioned companies like Amazon, they mentioned companies like Apple, they mentioned companies like Meta, Twitter, etc. It's not a coincidence that the richest man in the world, probably Elon Musk, bought Twitter or X. There's a reason for that. He understands how powerful social media is and the power that social media brings and the existing force that e-commerce has always been since time immemorial, when people are trading with gold and salt and all those things have come together to now form social commerce. Social commerce is commerce inside a conversation, and SocoChat is GS1's rendition of that. Now, before I go too deep into this conversation, I'll want you to watch this video so that you can understand where e-commerce was, where e-commerce is, and where e-commerce is going to, and why GS1 is being at the forefront of making sure that where e-commerce is going to is where we are and where currently we want to build in.
(2025), the year your customer doesn't click, they chat. From WhatsApp to Instagram DMs, brands are no longer waiting for visitors to fill a cart. They're sliding right into conversations. Welcome to the age of chat commerce, where sales happen one message at a time. Chat commerce is the fusion of e-commerce and messaging apps. It lets users browse, ask questions, and buy, all inside chat platforms like WhatsApp, Messenger, or WeChat. No checkout page, no app switch, no friction, just conversation that sells. In 2024 alone, over 2.5 billion people use messaging apps for business. According to Juniper Research, chat-based commerce transactions are expected to exceed $290 billion by 2025. And here's the kicker. Consumers are 3 times more likely to buy through a chat than a standard website ad. Why chat commerce work? Chat commerce works because it feels human. People want quick answers, not endless website menus. They trust recommendations that sound conversational, not corporate. AI-driven chatbots now use personalization, emojis, and even voice replies to mimic real human interaction. The result? Faster decisions, fewer drop-offs, and happier customers. Real-world examples. Let's look at who's winning the chat game. H&M uses Kik to let customers browse outfits and get style tips. Sephora's Messenger. Bot books in-store appointments directly through chat. And in Asia, WeChat mini stores allow users to order coffee, taxis, and clothes, all in one chat thread. Brands are realizing convenience is the new loyalty, AI's role in chat commerce. Artificial intelligence drives chat commerce from behind the scenes. AI tracks customer behavior, predicts buying intent, and sends hyper-personalized product links. With generative AI, chatbots now write product descriptions, answer complex queries, and upsell naturally. Basically, AI turns small talk into smart talk. How businesses can adapt. Ready to join the conversation? Start by connecting your store with chat platforms like WhatsApp Business, API, or Meta Messenger. Train your bot to respond like a human. Use natural tone and quick replies. And don't forget analytics. Track which messages convert and optimize like any ad campaign. From clicks to conversations. That's the evolution of digital marketing. Chat commerce isn't the future. It's already here. So the question is, who's your brand talking to today?
I really hope from this video you have come to understand what conversational commerce is. You've come to be able to understand why this is not just a side chat or a side channel. There are a couple of words I hope you've picked out from that conversation, and one of them was AI, and what AI is able to do in the WhatsApp channels and in the social commerce channels. Now, Renta, let me probably ask you a question. You want to buy your favorite shoe. Will you rather text someone who you'll have to wait for 10 hours or text an AI bot for a company that will reply to you in seconds?
Of course, I'll text an AI bot because it's much simpler and much faster.
I agree. Now, the reality of it is that when I speak to businesses about the solution and I ask them one simple question, do you have competition? And they all raise their hands and say, I do have competition. And I also ask them, do you think the Kenyan customer base is loyal to your business? And they don't raise their hands. Because this is true. People will move to where customer care is the fastest. People will move to where I don't have to wait too long in the line. If you probably walk into two supermarkets and you see that one, there's a long queue, and there's another one, there's a shorter queue, I'll probably enter the shorter queue because I know the things that are these two different supermarkets are exactly the same. So the product is no longer the differentiator. The differentiator is support. The differentiator is how fast people reach back out to you. And this is what at SocoChat, we've been able to build. Now, SocoChat will allow you to not only trade goods, but also services. Now, let's look at some numbers. In Kenya alone, over 20%, and 20% is a huge, huge number, of all the online orders are currently now placed through WhatsApp, making it one of the country's fastest growing commerce channels. I'm sure you're a buyer, you probably don't fill forms. When you go on TikTok, when you go on Instagram, when you go on WhatsApp and you see someone has posted something, you'll probably just want to ask, Iko, ni how much? And you expect to get an instant response. Now, the key thing to note here is the word instant. You want to get that instant response, and if you do, you can be able to purchase it. Now, the reality is that sellers spend hours answering the same questions about price, availability, delivery, and location. When we talk about AI, it's nothing much more than just automating the things that take too much of your time. And you're told about how AI will not replace you, but it will replace people who don't use AI, people who don't automate their different tasks, and they spend most of their time thinking and be able to prompt these agents to do exactly what they need to do. This is what SocoChat is allowing you to be able to build. Now, customer care is one of the places where a lot of automation can happen. The reason for this is because it's very repetitive. If you look at someone who's selling shoes, we can probably go through the different questions are asked in a day. Maybe you can type some of them in the chat, but most of them are like, how many colors of this do you have? Which size do you have? Does it fit me? Can you send me a photo? Do you have the ladies version of this? Is there a red one? These are 10 to 20 different questions that you can be able to train your AI on, and it can be able to answer 24/7. This means that when you're going to sleep, you have an AI bot that's answering these questions for you 24/7. Now let's have a look at how SocoChat works. In SocoChat, the first thing you do is that you're able to connect your data and give your AI instructions. Now with AI, it's probably as it was 50 years ago, 100 years back. As simple as a computer, garbage in, garbage out. And I'm sure you'll hear a lot about garbage in, garbage out when we're talking about AI. We want to ensure that the data that comes in is GS1 verified. And this will allow the user and the buyer to not undergo the different risks that we talked about. The buyer will be able to know that the thing that I've bought is authentic, will not have a hard time discovering it, and in case of any recalls, that can be done very easily. So the first step to be able to join SocoChat is that you're able to connect your data and give your AI instructions. So SocoChat can be able to bring the product record into the conversation and enables the business to answer customers automatically in different languages. Currently, you have English and Swahili, and it happens 24/7 using live product data. Now, let me dive a bit into this. Assume you have a business and you have a website already. All you have to do is just paste the link of that website, and you're able to extract all the products there. If you don't have a website and you have an Excel sheet, you're able to upload this Excel sheet, and the AI will be able to learn about your business products. If you don't have an Excel sheet, you can be able to add products manually on the system, and the AI will have context into what your products and business is about. Now, the AI does not replace the seller. You can be able to jump in at any moment. All it does is that it automates the hectic problem of having to reply to customers all the time. We've talked about how GS1 standards come into place here. If your data is the right one and your data is very GS1 verified, we're able to send the message with a big tick and a green tick to show that this product is GS1 verified, which will give the customer more trust. It will give the customer more confidence in your products, knowing that the product that I'm actually seeing is a product that I'll get at the end of the day. Now here's the interesting bit. After SocoChat is able to converse with your customer in real time, you can be able to set up things that we call call to actions. What are call to actions? Call to actions are the different things you do when certain things happen. Things you do when certain things happen. It's like conditional. So you can say, for example, think of it as a human. If I'm running my business from WhatsApp, a conditional will be when someone asks for my location, what would I do? I'd say, currently at GS1, we are Next Gen Mall, 5th floor. This is a call to action. So you can set up these instructions for your AI to follow. You can be able to say, when someone asks for a location link, send them a link to a map. When someone says, I want to get GS1 barcodes, you can be able to share a link for them to be able to register on our online platform. When someone says, I want to buy this right now, you can be able to send a link where they can be able to buy this in real time using all these different payment connectors we've integrated. The interesting thing is that you don't have to test in production. You don't have to test with your actual product. You can be able to test this inside our platform, and you can try and simulate as many conversations as possible, and you can train the AI on how to answer these questions better. I've talked about how customer service is very repetitive, and with that means it can be automated faster. In this test, you can be able to try live conversations, different scenarios, and you can give your AI better context. You can refine your assistant and adjust its responses until you're happy, until it sort of feels like you. You know how you can train your bot and your child to be like you? Even probably you should think about AI as a child. Sometimes you see a mother and a son and they act the same way. So you can be able to train this son to act exactly how you'd act if you're responding to someone on WhatsApp. This is how we've built SocoChat. How your business will get on WhatsApp and have a 24/7 bot is as simple as I've said. You first connect your business and provide instructions. Finally, then you can be able to add these different products that you have. And finally, you can be able to configure your call to actions. Now, there are a couple of things that this conversation should carry if you want the trust to be there with your customer. And that's the GS1 GTIN. These are the different things, or this is the thing that this product needs to carry to be able to give the person who's buying full trust into what is going on. Now, the difference between just a basic chatbot and this traceability endpoint that we currently have is that it will answer specific questions. It will answer the question, is this genuine? The GTIN will be able to resolve that against the GS1 registry, but the bot will just answer blindly. It can be able to answer the question, what is in it? Because this data is already there in your GS1 registry, it can be able to add and give context into different questions that the buyer may ask. The buyer may want to know what are the ingredients, what are the origin. And as I've said, mostly the origin, it's very important. You'll find that cattle herded in South Africa is a bit more expensive. So if you have this information on the GS1 registry, it can be able to answer this. The next question that it can be able to answer is this batch safe? Once you add your product on the GS1 registry, one field that we normally ask for is the expiry date. And this will give the user and the person who's buying so much confidence to be able to see that, hey, I am sure that this batch that I'm buying is safe. The other one that it will be able to answer is where can I get it? And the global location number will resolve the actual seller's location. The map pin will follow exactly to where they are. Now, I might probably be thinking, I already have a WhatsApp number. My people already reach out to me. Why do I need to join SocoChat? I need you to think about how long you take to answer the repetitive questions. I need you to think about how long your customers are willing to wait. I need you to stop living in a fantasy and think about whether, if you don't answer the question in 10 minutes, will your customer send a second message or will they go to another person? The reality is they will go to another person. And this is why you need SocoChat's engine. SocoChat is nothing but just a very intelligent engine for your already present WhatsApp number. Now, if you come to us, you can be able to connect the engine that will run on this number. You don't need to change your phone number. The phone number that you already have running WhatsApp can now be able to reply using the AI that you've trained. The AI will ensure that all the data that's there is fully protected. We are ODPC compliant. What that means is that all the data that you share with us, you're sure that it's fully safe. You have cybersecurity measures that ensure that all the data that is shared with us does not get leaked. You're sure that all the data that is with us is protected. They're not fully working on TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn, all these different social media platforms. So why not bring e-commerce into this? Why not you join SocoChat and enable your business to run 24/7? Now I want to talk in finality about the things that you are currently asking from this room. The first one is for the brand owners. If you have a GS1 Kenya license, we ask you to publish your products on SocoPower using your current GTINs. Now, the interesting thing, and that we have for now, is that anytime your products are listed on SocoPower, they'll be listed automatically on SocoChat as well. We're asking you to do this. Think about what this could do for your business. And not only for goods, but also for services. Imagine if you want, you want to automate your business. You want to automate your service. You want to break down the time it takes for customers to get a reply. SocoChat is the answer for this. And for the technology providers, people who build systems, have Axiom here as our partner and our sponsor. Think about how you can be able to make GTIN and GLN standard fields in every e-commerce platform that you currently build. The reason is because these two fields are very important in traceability. GLN will be able to tell you where it's from. GLN stands for Global Location Number. It can be able to tell you where this product is from and where it's going. And the GTIN is a Global Trade Item Number, which can tell you what this product is. Is it the legitimate product? Is it expired? Is it good for my health? As a technology provider, when you're building systems, and I'm a software engineer, Rint is a software engineer here, and Joseph as well, who spoke in our first presentation, is a software engineer. We should think about our users. We should think about our user journeys, and we should also think about our user safety. Think about what adding these two fields and ensuring that you're GS1 compliant could do to your product. Now, for the retailers and the regulators, all the supermarkets that are here, all these digital marketplaces, you need to start asking for GTINs when onboarding products and suppliers. And this is not for you, but for the people who are buying from you. This is so important. This will help the customers gain so much confidence in what they're buying. You need to start asking for this. The global leaders are already moving there. Why should you be left behind? Users are already demanding for trust. And they want to look at products. They want to ensure that the product identity is kept valid. So ensure that these are the different things you're asking for. Thank you so much for listening to our presentation. Check out socopower.co.ke and also check out SocoChat. We'll be able to help you automate your business in a few minutes. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Welcome back, and it's been a very beautiful morning, and we proceed in terms of having our viewers on screen and our panelists. So allow me to let them speak again and just introduce themselves and what they took us through this morning. We'll begin with our first speaker, who was Joseph. Tell us more about, or summarize it before I begin the panel in regard of what we spoke, for the benefit of the viewers who have just joined us. And welcome once again.
Thanks, Eva. So for those viewers who have joined us later, my name is Joseph Olo, team lead in charge of software and data. And I was speaking more majorly on traceability, verifiable data along the supply chain.
Thank you very much, Joseph, for that. And at least now we understand that there's traceability along the supply chain. But before we continue, our last speaker who just left stage with his colleague Rinta would be able also to just let us know more about what he spoke about as he introduces himself.
Thank you so much, Eva. My name is Michael Munavu, Assistant Manager at Fumbuzi AI in GS1 Kenya. In our presentation, we talked about GS1 standards in marketplace and retail. We talked about our two interesting products in Soko Power and Soko Chat.
Thank you very much. And now we have understood more about AI in retail and about the attributes that we actually truly have. But before we dive into it, an overview in terms of the experience. We had a lot of viewers who joined us online, and we were about at 70 plus. I would want to take this opportunity to actually thank Axiom, who was beneficially on the first panel and sharing a lot on what they do. Those are our sponsors, and we recognize you. But before we dive into it, I would just like an overview in terms of your experience in regard to the technology that we are using today in regard to the systems and the attributes that you had mentioned, Joseph, on GS1 Kenya. What would be your general overview in terms of the uptake of the GS1 standards that we are really trying to articulate out here?
Okay. So I'll start by saying technology is ever evolving, and GS1 Kenya has not been left behind on that regard. So we're also evolving with the times and also evolving with the technology. So as some of the other colleagues had mentioned, that initially when we started with the barcode, which was a technology that was working for us for the last 54 years. But then again, we've improved to other capturing standards, which is the 2D. On top of that, now we also have a self-service portal, so all the members can be able to do it at the comfort of their homes or their phones. So when we're starting, it wasn't there. Most of our members had to come physical to the office, but with technology, we've been able to make work easier so that any member, not only in Kenya, but across East Africa and also across Africa, can be able to access some of the standards that we offer. In terms of the uptake, I can say that the uptake is quite good and increasing over time. So initially, it wasn't that good because there wasn't a lot of information out there explaining what is GS1, who is GS1, what are these standards we keep on mentioning. But now with the sensitization that we have been doing, even including these forums and events like Traceability Week, we've been able to sensitize the members more and more, and including them into our softwares or the technologies that we are using to make standards much more efficient for their operations and businesses.
Very interesting. You talk about having standards and systems that GS1 Kenya has internally created for our members out there to be able to interact with the platform. In as much as we would want to interact with you on a daily basis and get back to you, this is to let you know that there's a self-service portal. And in that rejoinder of that question, I would definitely ask, because you've talked a lot about 2D. So I would ask in terms of that, how does AI and 2D barcodes complement each other in creating smarter, of course, and more connected systems that we have, that you have mentioned?
So with systems, based on the knowledge that I was taught growing up, it's essentially a computer. AI is fundamentally a computer, and computers is garbage in, garbage out. But AI is a smarter, much more efficient computer that can be able to sift out what is garbage and what is actually verifiable, trusted data. So we have been pushing for the 2D. So the 2D has been working, but now with the involvement of AI can be able to say if this particular 2D is a GS1 2D or any other 2D someone is just trying to maybe corrupt. So artificial intelligence has come in to assist in making verifiable trusted data to be much more trusted.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
Now, if we move to the retail sector and engineer
Yes.
Munavu had taken us through. Well, he's about to graduate now and
Hopefully.
get to get it. So congratulations are in order, something that the audience didn't really know. So in regard to technology in terms of the retail sector, I would want to probably just understand the retail sector has really long relied on standards like barcodes, and that was definitely used to create trust and efficiency. So AI is becoming the mainstream. So what is the next barcode moment we would say in regard for retail, as you have really tried to take us through and let us know? Probably tell us and our viewers so that we are able to understand the next barcode moment.
Thank you so much, Eva. I'd say the next barcode moment is a place where we are getting to where you're able to converse with your product. Once you're able to scan the QR code, you're not only able to see the things that the manufacturer or us as GS1 Kenya have put there, you're able to ask your product questions. You're able to ask it, what's the net content? It can give you that. Where was it produced? Now, the beauty of this is that if your product is a GS1 product, this data is already there with us. And the data is verifiable. And the data the AI will use to answer the customer and give your customer more feedback is something that we as GS1 have. Imagine if you buy a new food product and you want to go and cook it. You buy spaghetti rice. You've seen this amazing recipe online. The future is that we'll be able to scan this rice packet and we can ask it questions. We can ask it, how do I cook pilau with this rice? And AI will be able to have enough context to give you the best recipe for you to be able to cook. That's the future we're going to.
Beautiful. And understanding that now we don't necessarily have to order food from outside and probably just learn and do the recipe and pick it up in that regard. So as quick rejoinder in regard to scanning, as you've mentioned, the 2D code, what happens in an event that now we are in an area where there is no network, but yet we have communities that sometimes get even funding in terms of aid of food, and that has been taken to them. Yet there's probably a student or a child among them who is very literate and privileged to understand that this is a 2D code and they are not able to really scan. Is GS1 looking at how that this data can still be picked up and they're able to understand what is in the code without probably having the internet? That is probably a move. That is probably something that is being asked by many people. I'm not in a network prone area. What really happens at that point?
Now, GS1 has built very interesting products. And as I've said, as software engineers, we need to think about how our users use the platform. We tend to sometimes build with ourselves in mind, but should build with users in mind. What about that person that is in a remote area that cannot be able to scan? We've built a platform called Hakikisha Bidhaa. It's a mobile app that's downloadable. And the beauty about this is that it can work offline. So you can able to scan a digital link and it has caching features that allows you to be able to get some of this data in real time. Granted that you can now not be able to interact with the AI, it still gives you the data that GS1 has in real time. And the beauty is that the data to collect is verifiable, so that person still has context into what the product is about.
Awesome. And that is something to note in terms of what you've mentioned, that we are able to capture your data and we handle your data. One of the things that Joseph had mentioned is that GS1 is a data handler and we are registered with the Office of the Data Protection. So your data is definitely safe. So we are a data carrier and a data handler. That is one thing that you need to understand. So we don't just keep your information and not really understand the implications of us giving it away. So you should be assured of that. But I'll take back now, rejoin, and probably bring Joseph into the picture in regard to asking him in terms of what does trust mean in what you have been giving us in terms of the presentation, because our viewers are listening about trust, AI powered in terms of the ecosystem. Who is ultimately responsible of maintaining it? I just gave them a hint in regard to us being a data handler and a carrier, but you talked about attributes and all of this. Now tell us more about the smart aspect so that our viewers and our members can be able to understand and have more as you delve into this for them to get it. indefinitely layman's language, because I had Michael at some point say cachet. So I'm probably asking fancy words, and I'm asking for one of my colleagues or one of my people down there typing, asking for a cousin. So take us through.
So I'll start with the term trust. So trust is a very it means different things to different people, but then again, ultimately, it has the same meaning to all of us. So trust essentially means I will always be, trusting that this particular data will always, or this particular code or this particular standard will stay true towards my product or my entity. Essentially, that's how I can explain trust when it comes to GS1 standards and the data, right? So moving on to the smartness about it, the future we're heading towards, data will be very key in molding how we will be transacting in the retail or the trade sector. So if data will be key, we won't need just any data or all the data in the world, but trusted and verifiable data.
Okay.
So the trusted data that we are mentioning is from all the institutions that are GS1 compliant, including some of the viewers, that data should be complete. So I mentioned in my presentation, 7 attributes is what we pick, but that is not what you're limited towards. Other sectors, we can pick up to 20, other sectors up to 15. Case in point, in healthcare, we might also pick the strength of that particular drug, or paracetamol in this case. For construction, we might want to pick the bill of construction or some other entities here and there, right? So each sector has some data that will be very key in making the data complete. So if the data is complete, definitely there are entities out here that will be able to maybe say, this is the standard and this is the way that we should be able to protect this data. And GS1 is leading or charting that path to create trusted and verifiable data, not only in Kenya or in the local space, but also in the global space or the global conversations. So as GS1, we're working, as we said, we are not for profit and user driven and neutral. We are working with all governments, all institutions, all traders, all providers, the regulators, and every other stakeholder to make sure that this data is verifiable, trusted by GS1, and they can be able to use it. So it's not misused by other entities. So that is why in each and every GS1 member organization in the country, most, if not all, are pushing towards becoming data compliant. So data processors and data handlers. If all this is done and GS1 is able to chart the path, I believe our viewers, our customers, our members will be able to work with us in this journey.
Interesting. And in that same rejoinder, I would want to probably for you to tell our viewers and probably our listeners, yes, in regard to that, in terms of what partnerships that are we looking at between retailers, yes, manufacturers, yes, standards organizations, and technology partners will be essential to realizing that particular vision that we're talking about, yeah, in terms of data handling, smart, vision 2030, and all these things that you're talking about.
Right.
Yeah.
So for manufacturers, our ask, and I think it is already there, is work with us so that you can be able to have these identifiers, okay, and be able to trade in the global scale, not only remain in the local spaces, but in the global scale, right? For retailers, work together with the manufacturers to have trusted and verifiable data using GS1 standards. So the standards that are coming within your channels should be able to be verifiable and trusted. So you don't have clashes and also audit trails that says that this barcode has maybe multiple products. For the stakeholders or the regulators in this case, we are actively pushing to collaborate with them and partner with the regulators such that we make sure that it is a regulation that GS1 standards can be able to be used across the supply chain because you already have the trusted source of all this data. For the retailers, such like the healthcare providers or institutions, I mean, patient safety is very key. We don't want to consume any drugs that are might affect our body in any way. So in this case, if you can be able to use the GS1 standards from start to finish, we can be able to make the healthcare space affordable and also a much safer space for patients.
Thank you for that answer. And it's a bit eye-opening and an understanding that the regulators need to come on board, but because it
Yes.
starts from them, because
Yes.
they are definitely the gatekeepers. So this is a call out probably to the regulators out there so that they understand that they're the gatekeepers and they're able to follow on this and make people now start adopting into it. And that also calls in for our legislators who are definitely
Correct.
in parliament. And of course, that is now where the youth come in and AI. So with that same quick rejoinder, I'd throw a quick question probably to Michael in regard to the retailers. And I would want to understand, as the retailers are preparing for the 2D migration, in terms of the 2D, in terms of global migration, that is to the 2D barcodes, where exactly do you see the biggest opportunity for AI to be able to accelerate this adoption?
Interesting question. I think the consumer now is more aware, is probably more educated than they were 50 years ago when the barcode was coming into play.
Very true.
People now are very aware of the things they eat. People are very aware of the things they buy. People are aware of the things they do on a day to day. So I think the biggest opportunity is in ensuring that we fill in this gap where customers are feeling there's a bit of mistrust. If every product that is on your retail shop allows a user to be able to interact with it, has a 2D barcode that someone can be able to scan and see these are the different ingredients that are there. These are the different things that have been used to manufacture this thing. You'll find that even, I think now more than ever, people are allergic to certain things. People are more sensitive to certain things here and there as well. What this means is that if you can provide this data to the customer, who is, as I've said, more aware, customers want to know everything about the different things they consume. If you're a retailer, I think here's the gap. We need to ensure that all the different products that you're onboarding are first just have GS1 standards. And this means that the data is verified. And apart from that, they need to be AI enabled so that they can be able to communicate to the user. The user, I can be able to scan and ask a question. Is this product good for my health? I have this allergy. Should I be able to eat this product? So I think that's where the biggest gap is. And the ones who are really smart and fast can be able to fill in this gap.
Still on that, in regard to that, 5 years from now, I mean, it's not very far, and I believe we'll all be here probably to look at this. How do you envision probably the shopping experience once every product carries the 2D barcode, and how can AI interpret this data? Just give or take 5 years. Where are you looking at this particular vision that we are trying to give out to our viewers out there and to our members and each and every person? Now that you're in the AI and you're the engineer behind all this, and of course with Joseph and Vumbuzi AI systems, where exactly do you see this in 5 years?
Now, interestingly, or maybe let me say sadly enough, in technology, we normally follow the West. So the things that were there in Europe, in US, 5 years ago, 3 years ago, I think with AI now the window is a bit shorter, but the things that come there maybe in 3 months they're here. But previously, let me even take an example in the ride-hailing companies.
Yes.
You'll find that in 2005 to 2008, ride-hailing companies were a big thing in the United States, and in Africa that wasn't really a big thing. When they probably came, the first question was, how will I enter into a stranger's car? They'll probably take me somewhere. We probably had these taxi people that we trusted, that we always called. And 5 to 10 years later, they came into Kenya and we adopted that fully. But now in the e-commerce space, I feel if you look at what's happening in the US now, stores have less people. Stores have AI-enabled devices. That's essentially how it works. And I saw one documentary. When you get into a store, you're able to just tap your phone on, let's say, on a table, and it can be able to get your payment details. After that, you have smart sensors all across the stores, and you carry a basket, and you're able to put in the different things. And it uses AI machine learning to know if I picked a milk worth 50 shillings and not a milk worth 100 shillings. And you're able to do this. If you return, it can be able to remove it from the virtual cart. So I see that future, a future where people, as I've said, are more aware. People can be able to shop with this AI assistance.
Okay.
Everything is automated. I see a place where in a supermarket probably just has one attendant. And for this, you have to trust the things that are there are actually the things. because most times for attendants, we ask them, is this actually the right thing? Is this good for me? So if we are able to embed this data, embed this information inside the products, I think definitely that's where the future is going.
Thank you for that. But I'll take you back. As you began, you mentioned something about cars in the West and all, but you used that term. What is the term you used? And you said the future of cars. People believed in a taxi and that. Break it down in a way that our viewers and our listeners will be able to understand, because I told you about the cachet. Now understand him, he's engineer. And as we are continuing to understand that bit, you mentioned that some years back, people were using a sort of machinery that you've mentioned, and that is in the West. How best can we, as Africa, and breaking it down to Kenya and our manufacturers and our producers, all this within us, how best do we start at home as opposed to looking a lot and emulating what you're talking about out there? Charity begins at home.
Yeah.
So how well will we use it? And there's a Swahili saying that says, undugu ni kufaana. So how best are we going to faana within ourselves in Kenya? And how do you think that that can come in?
I'll explain a bit deeper as to how, as I've said, technology most times follows the West, but with recent years, not as much. I talked about the ride-hailing applications.
That's what I was waiting for.
Yes, the
When you say
ride-hailing.
Ride-hailing, I would want you to break it down in Eva language or viewer language.
Okay.
Because when you say ride-hailing, one of the viewers, could you please type and tell us what is your understanding of ride-hailing? Because now we are trying to break it down, and that's why we have Traceability Week, for you people to understand it better. So ride-hailing, put it in terms of what is at home.
Yes. Okay. So in ride-hailing, assume you want to move from direction A to direction B. If you are a fast runner, you can decide to run. If you don't want to run, you can decide to alight a matatu. But if you have maybe a bit of extra money, you can decide to order yourself a cab online. There are many online providers where you can be able to select and say, this is where I am, this is where I want to be, and it can give you different prices. So that is what I mean by ride hailing. Ride hailing, or this online cab platform, started in the US, I believe, in around 2008, but it came to Kenya much, much late, 2015, 2014, thereabout. And the reason for this is that as Africa, we have a very low trust society. If you look at the different products that are launched in the US and the different products that are launched in Kenya, the technology is not the difference. It's in how we build these products. And trust is a big factor in that. I remember looking at a product online on Shark Tank where, let's say you're traveling from Nairobi to Mombasa. Instead of traveling with all your clothes, you can say, this is my size of shoes, this is my size of trousers, these are the different looks I want to wear. And someone in Mombasa who has those clothes will just wash them for you and have them for you at the airport. You go spend a week in Mombasa. Once you're done, you return those clothes. Now, you think about how amazing this product is until you think about maybe Kenyans. And Kenyans will probably, if the clothes is really good, if the clothes are really good, they won't return it. And that's the difference in normally how technology is built. In the US, they have a very high trust society, and it's similar to what I was saying now in regards to retail. In the current US and Western flow, retail probably has one person or two people. And how it works is that you enter with a basket and you just pick things, and the AI machine learning models, they can be able to know Eva picked milk, Eva picked bread, Eva picked toothpaste, and it can tell you're supposed to pay 300 shillings. And it will prompt you and you'll be able to pay these 300 shillings. Now, there are two trust sources that you're hoping for here. The first one is that we trust the data of the product. We trust that this milk that Eva is speaking, without having to ask an attendant, is the right milk. We are hoping that the products that are in that supermarket are not expired. And the other trust element we are hoping for is the trust of the person.
Okay.
And the trust is that after I pick these things and I pay and I'm supposed to pay 500, I'll pay this 500. Now, where I believe we can start off in Africa is by ensuring that the trust of the product is there. And here's where GS1 comes in. Every product that is has GS1 standards, you can be rest assured that you can fully trust it. And after this is done, we can now move on to changing the culture but we're able to trust ourselves
Yes.
to be able to get into the supermarkets, do all these things remotely, and pay for it via M-Pesa or via all these different services.
Thank you very much. And I'll still pick back on and hand it over now to Joseph as we are trying to wind up probably on our session. You talked about culture, and I'll bring it back now and take it home in regard to that. And Joseph, to probably try and take us through. We are in an era of culture and culture embracing and culture change. How does the youth look at it in regard to AI and the systems that we are building and them embracing this kind of new things? And how do you now get to see the gap between, of course, there's the baby boomer, there's the Gen Z, there's all these gaps between, and then now we have Alpha and even Beta coming up, who are learning a phone. I think at 9 months, a child can even navigate it much better than probably my grandmother or my mother back there. What is the culture that we're trying to build and inculcate or introduce to the youth and to be able to embrace this? And what is the uptake for this? What would be your opinion?
So when it comes to culture, I recently saw some video of children from 2-3 years are getting smartphones for, that already have a camera, that have AI-enabled features and all these other things. I remember in my time, I got those smartphones from China, right? That just used to make sound.
Gen Z, we will understand that.
Yes.
Because you can tell us. Yeah.
So it would just create a sound. And before my time, there were stones and smoke signals. So you can see how communication or how technology has advanced
Definitely.
through different cultures, through different timelines. Yeah.
Okay.
So building up on the culture topic, we have our logo. If any of you know it, please type it in the chat. For GS1 Kenya, I won't mention it, but I'll mention for Traceability TV.
Sure.
So for Traceability TV, it is we trace it, you trust it. So you've mentioned trust, and you can see even trust is part of our motto in one of the solutions that we're providing, which is Traceability TV.
Yes.
So trust should be the consistent item from the first generation to the current generation, regardless.
Definitely.
Technology will change, structures will change, all these other things will change.
Yes.
So if you're able to create trust, and how do we create this trust from different cultures? So as of now, we have 3, 4, 5, as you've mentioned, baby boomers all the way to Gen Beta. The trust should remain there. And GS1 standards should be at the epitome or the center out of all of it, right?
Okay.
So as of now, by then there was just directories and manual books of way to verify all this information. But now there are systems, the technology. So if a Gen Z or a Gen Alpha or Gen Beta has gadgets that are like the one I'm holding on my arm, they can be able to have those trusted data within their fingertips. So the culture will change definitely, and change is constant.
Oh, yeah.
So with all that, the trust should always remain from time to time.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, there you've had it, our viewers, in regard to trust and understanding, as well as embracing it. Now, Michael, in your parting shot, I would want you to probably tell us in a line or two, where do you see retail moving? And what is your parting shot to our viewers? Of course, we thank them for being with us. And what is your ask to them so that they can be able to work with us this talk?
I'd say the future of retail is social commerce. E-commerce has been there, as I've said, probably longer than most of us have been here. E-commerce has been there when people are trading, using ships, using gold, using salt, all these different things. But now we're in a new age. We're in an age where people spend most of their times on their phones. And when they're spending most of their times on their phones, they're probably on social media accounts. I have a lady who works here, and she told me she doesn't have any social media account. And I was trying to envision how she spends her day, because for me, I don't think I'd survive without the social media accounts. And I think
that's your generation.
and I think that's a reality for
Yeah.
even you and you. I don't think you'd survive without all these different you wouldn't without all these different tools. So as I've said, This is where the future is going to, and SocoChat is that future. So what I'd ask from you guys is that if you want to automate your business, if you want to have your business running 24/7, and this is not only for people who are selling small things online, even if you're a manufacturer, think about the number of calls you get in a day.
Yes.
You know, we're talking to different insurance companies and they get 500 calls in an hour. Can you imagine what a manufacturer who manufactures many things is getting calls from different suppliers? And there's some suppliers who will probably get a missed call. There's some suppliers who won't get a very responsive answer. You can be able to embed customer care AI into your business through SocoChat. So that will be my ask from you. If you want to automate your business, make sure you reach out to us and we can get started on this journey together.
Thank you very much, Michael. And there you had it. He needs to AIize a lot of your chats. And we shall be coming as GS1 Kenya, knocking your doors and definitely engaging you and understanding you in terms of that. And of course, when the slides began, Joseph began by mentioning we identify and then we capture and we share. So we would like to identify. And that brings it as Joseph takes it home now and being able to just let us know what would be your ask to our viewers, our manufacturers, and some are not our members. How well do we want to bring them on board to understand so that we end this probably with a bang and letting you know that we shall be knocking very soon from Michael's perspective. Let's hear from Joseph.
So as you've just said, we shall be knocking at your doors, whether physical or virtual. We also engage you on the virtual streets as well, the AI, Zooms, these platforms. So in just finishing, I would like to end with, and this is actually something that is very close to GS1 Kenya's heart. The Western side have already, as Michael mentioned, we have been taking a lot of influence from there, be the movies or some other aspect. We have been actually getting a lot from there. When you go to the European side, they have done a lot of industrial revolutions, manufacturings and all that. When you come to Asia, still the same. But then again, the question would be, what has Africa done? And this is where now actually GS1 Kenya has taken a lead and created a platform to be able to feed the world. So we have created a platform by the name Shamba Connect, and I'm just giving you a sneak peek on tomorrow's presentation. So please, tomorrow at 9 a.m., please log in and have a listen to what we are going to do. So how we'll be feeding the country or the whole of Africa or the whole of the world. Stay tuned for tomorrow's presentation.
Well, there you've heard it, our viewers, in regard to what we had in store for you today. But we would not end this before giving you a video or two to give you more perspective in regard to the retail bit. But before even we end, we would like to truly recognize our partners who are working with us on the Traceability Week. And of course, that is Axiom Digital. Thank you very much, Axiom and Abdallah, for really showcasing it and letting us know. A big shout out to you. Sonic Fresh Company, we are truly grateful that you managed to work with us and you continue to work with us. Gold Rock, your coffee is amazing and it's keeping us and energized in studio right now. Isinya Roses, we are truly grateful for you working with us as we continue. Greetings from our board and our directors as they are very happy that you managed to join us. As we continue, let us now be able to project and show you 2 videos. Stay tuned as we understand more on the retail bit. And we want to give a very big thank you to all of you for joining us today. We end this particular day with having the 2 documentaries, and we'll be able to catch up with you tomorrow, probably at the same time, which would be 9 a.m., and be able to engage you further. Come with more questions. And the more questions you ask and the more participation you get, we definitely have something for you. And we'll be able to share it with you tomorrow. From GS1 Kenya and Traceability TV Studios, we'd like to say a big asante sana. And my team now will be able to project and take you through the 2 documentaries as we log off for the day. We'll be sure to see you tomorrow. Same time, same place. Traceability TV, we trace it, you trust it.
In the age of digital commerce, the journey of a product from the manufacturer to the consumer has transformed dramatically. Online marketplaces have revolutionized how we shop, offering unparalleled convenience and choice. However, with this transformation comes the challenge of ensuring transparency and trust in the supply chain. This is the story of traceability in the retail sector, a behind-the-scenes look at the mechanisms that ensure we know exactly where our products come from and how they reach our doorstep. Online marketplaces have seen exponential growth over the past decade. From giants like Amazon and Alibaba to local e-commerce platforms, these digital hubs have become integral to modern shopping. But as the volume of transactions increases, so does the complexity of managing and tracking these products. Online marketplaces offer a plethora of benefits: convenience, variety, and often lower prices. However, they also come with inherent risks that both consumers and businesses must navigate. The benefits are undeniable. Consumers have access to a vast array of products from around the world, often at competitive prices. For businesses, it's an opportunity to reach a global audience. Despite these advantages, online marketplaces are not without their pitfalls. Counterfeit products, shipping delays, and data breaches are just a few of the risks associated with digital commerce. Balancing these risks and benefits is essential. This is where robust traceability systems comes into play, ensuring that the benefits outweigh the risks by providing transparency and accountability at every stage. Traceability isn't just about tracking a package. It's about ensuring every step of the supply chain is transparent and accountable. From sourcing raw materials to the final delivery, each stage must be meticulously documented. With traceability, issues like product recalls or counterfeit goods can be quickly identified and addressed, maintaining the integrity of the supply chain. Technology plays a pivotal role in enabling traceability. GS1 standards, barcodes, and RFID tags are some of the tools that help create a seamless flow of information. GS1 standards ensures that all players in the supply chain speak the same language, making it easier to track and trace products across borders. Today's consumers are more informed and conscientious than ever. They expect transparency and accountability from the brands they support. Knowing where products come from, especially food and health products, gives consumers peace of mind. When a company can show the journey of a product, it builds trust and loyalty. Despite the advancements, traceability in online marketplaces faces significant challenges. Counterfeit goods infiltrate even the most secure supply chains, posing safety risks to consumers and financial risks to brands. Product recalls can be daunting, as identifying and isolating affected items requires precise and rapid traceability. In addition to these issues, maintaining accurate data throughout the entire supply chain can be difficult. Inconsistencies and errors can occur at any point, leading to discrepancies that undermine trust and efficiency. Furthermore, the fragmentation of information systems across different suppliers, logistic providers, and retailers can result in gaps and delays in tracking. The sheer scale of global supply chains adds another layer of complexity. Coordinating across multiple countries, languages, and regulations demands robust systems and continuous vigilance. Addressing these challenges is crucial to ensuring the integrity and transparency of the supply chain in online marketplaces. Transport and logistics are the lifeline of online marketplaces. Without efficient and transparent logistics, the entire supply chain can falter. Ensuring products are tracked accurately during transit is essential for maintaining the integrity of the supply chain. Innovations like real-time tracking and automated warehouses are revolutionizing how logistics are managed. These technologies provide unprecedented visibility and control over the movement of goods. The integration of cutting-edge technologies in logistics not only improves efficiency but also enhances traceability, ensuring that products are delivered accurately and on time. The future of traceability is promising. As technology continues to evolve, so will the methods and systems that ensure transparency and trust in online marketplaces. Greater integration and collaboration across the supply chain will achieve a level of traceability that meets the growing demands of consumers. Ultimately, traceability is about building trust. It's about assuring consumers that they can rely on the information they receive and that the products they buy are safe and authentic.